Betul.
Macam
Hi, Chan. Oh, let me join.
Please subscribe to my YouTube as well. Wait, it's still 1 subscriber though. The fuck? What happened?
like scrap guy pula.
Scrap guy, eh?
Like and subscribe, guys.
Like and subscribe, guys. Remember to like and subscribe. I should make that comment. YouTube, YT ah.
Analytics says that 50% of his viewers are not.
Bodoh! 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 Bodoh
Did you say
lah!
my name? Apa?
Huh?
Anna?
Bukan.
Analytics.
Oh, okay.
That is why I
Analytics.
call her.
Takkanlah analytics pula. Anna, what did you hear? Analytics ah? Instead of analytics.
No, I was running, and then all I heard was Anna.
Analytics.
Bodoh lah.
Anna, cuba tengok. I delete the message. That's possible.
Huh?
I type in voice to text chat. What you probably could have heard.
Jeez.
Okay, it works. YT. Ada. Aku nak set up server Discord ni. Malas lah aku.
Oh, that's a cool overlay.
What overlay? Mine?
Yeah.
Biasa je. I have something better coming when I have like every single thing. Now I'm just using what I have from Stream Elements. That's all I can do at the moment. So
Why am I so sleepy?
tidur je tak apa, tidur je.
No. Oh. God, that was loud.
What was that?
This is my phone. It's Tic Tac.
Oh my god.
I'm getting burgers tomorrow. Hell yeah.
You getting what?
Burger.
Burger. I had burger today.
Burger.
Oh, chill dulu.
I definitely want the goat. Lamb, garlic sauce, lettuce, cheese. Oh, I could get the breakfast. Mashed patty, hash brown, sunset egg, cheese, lettuce, maple syrup.
Sorry, I am ordering. I'm buying tickets ni job untuk Sunday. I want to watch Thunderbolts with Oji-chan. Kalau member lain. Kalau member lain ada tiba-tiba nak join.
Some
lain.
guys are gonna watch Thunderbolt so I'm malas lah.
Wow. It's actually finally a good Marvel movie after a while. So I'm like, cubalah.
Yeah, I heard people are saying it's a good one. But I'm like,
malas.
You malas nak tengok Thunderbolt. Shocking.
Bodoh!
No, I malas nak tengok wayang.
Tell your fans.
If someone's gonna pay my ticket and drive me to the location, maybe I'll go.
If I'm there lah, I would. But I mean,
You drive my car? Okay.
drive your car. Make sure there's no roadblocks.
No, I don't think I.
Oh shit! Really? Okay.
We rarely.
Okay, I'll take note.
Kalau ada pun, don't worry. It'll definitely be in the family group chat.
Oh,
Like, hey,
really?
block this one place. Like, okay.
Tent. Ya, ambil seat yang tepi lah, yang best lah. Ambil yang tepi lah.
Oh, I can try their new menu. The enoki burger. Lapar.
Oh, dah register. I'm a little baby boy, daddy.
Oh, it's Mother's Day soon. Should I bring? I could bring my mom. What is this? Beef rasher, enoki mushroom barbecue sauce. I don't really like barbecue sauce.
I see. What sauce again, sorry?
Barbacoa.
Oh, abaku. I pun kurang sikit that one. Kurang lah. Kurang.
Maybe I'll just get one of the mushroom burgers. Shiitake.
Weh,
Shiitake.
sedap oh.
We'll see.
Okay, just testing. Cepatlah bagi kod. Oh, there we go. Aku nak tiket ni.
Oh, why does my head hurt?
Oh no.
I'm sorry if I'm complaining so much. Lapar lah. Sakit kepala lah. It's probably because I've been on VR all day.
All day? What?
Yeah, there was the hangout with that group,
No.
and then we were just hanging out, just watching some cat videos, just hanging out. And then I got off sekejap at lunch, and then T invited to hang out about. He wanted to test the dolly camera.
Oh, the camera. Oh, yeah, that. The Resi Plus ada, yeah. I have that.
I just kind of helped out. But it
Oh.
just jadi patung lah.
Jadi patung eh.
And then just hung out.
Hey guys, what's going on?
And just
Goodness.
oh, nasib baik. Cepat OG jawab. Mantap lah. Aku boleh beli macam tu je. Dia nak
Banyak the chicken. Lapar banar sudah tu.
memang lapar tu. You know what? Sekali-sekala butter popcorn ke signature? No, aku boleh pinjam dia punya royal popcorn. I'll take body popcorn then. Bukan hot drink gila. Bukan hot drink. Yeah. No, large body popcorn. Yeah, that's the one. Sorry. Thank you. Coke Zero, please.
Oh, it's calling.
Nah. Mineral water boleh bawa sendiri.
Don't tell them that.
Yeah, don't tell them that. Shh. You're my little baby boy, daddy. You're my little baby boy. I bodoh lah.
Hello.
Low?
Oh,
Ah, tengah stream.
Udah.
It's me. Malio.
belum.
Ah.
Mario.
Malio. Not
Is
Mario.
me.
Malio. Bodoh
Malio
lah.
from Temu.
What Rio?
Bodoh lah.
Ash, okay je Ash.
ni nak tengah makan.
Okay. Aku main segame tu. Play run 10 times. Okay. I'll do what you want. I'll do what you want. Oh man, Heno kat atas babi sakitnya magic dia. Awak anjay.
Hino.
Aku lah pakai Baichi tu je.
Oof.
It's a bad matchup.
Not really. If the Heno jenis yang tak apa nak bagi perhatian dekat your surrounding. Because Waichi have that tarik kan on his skill tu.
Heno ni pandai lah. Itu yang yup. Yeah,
Yang kau kena tunggu dapat ulti baru boleh lawan dia.
Yeah, looks like.
Ah. Okay dah. Sudah order. Ya.
Ini penakut tu. Salah.
Ambil tiket lah.
The Makers are still not responding. Defenses about to be breached.
Targets identified.
Wait. Sorry. Let me see that again.
Targets identified.
So apparently yang aku nak commission Doom Slayer ni punya cosplay, dia Irshad tau. Irshad kata dia sekali dengan kain ni sekali. Bapak ah.
What's that?
Impact confirmed. The player has been
2.5k tapi dia kata bayar bulan-bulan. Boleh bayar bulan. Jarang boleh bayar bulan produk mereka ni. Oh, I can't wait, bro. I can't wait to aura farming, bro. I can't wait to go aura farming. Wah, new music lagi.
View. This year punya community staff. Balik jom.
Oh,
Baju pun boleh dapat dekat my team pun.
Hati tu tak kena lagi kata.
oh my god.
Baju community boleh.
Oh! I'm not cooming. I'm dooming it. I'm dooming it. Holy fuck. Oh my god. Oh my new music. Fuck. Fucking new music and fucking oh my god, man. I'm dooming it. I'm dooming it. Oh, okay. Let's check the reviews, man. First by IGN. I have to be the first
as I
one.
ripped and tore until it was done. Doom: The Dark Ages campaign is all about setting up the dark sci-fi fantasy vibes. It follows our strong, mostly silent Doomslayer before he was awoken in a sarcophagus in a UAC space station back in Doom 2016. Of course, the Slayer himself isn't much more than just a vehicle for badassery, so it's not like we're seeing a new side of him or getting any sort of deeper look at this character's origins or motivations. Instead, the Dark Ages story is more about filling in the blanks in the Doom universe, diving into the history of the conflict between humans and demons, and further fleshing out both the faction of humanity defending Sentinels and the deity-like Makers.
Launch the Slayer.
And in that way, it's not only serviceable, but it also does a good job of taking us to both a wide variety of hellish landscapes that include sci-fi themed medieval castles, and a very welcome trip to the Lovecraftian inspired cosmic realm, which features a ton of really cool mind-bending puzzles and creepy settings that are different from what we've seen before. Perhaps the best thing about the story is that it no longer feels like it's just the Slayer against the nameless forces of hell. There are human companions that are central to the plot.
Maybe he didn't survive.
It regularly feels like you're fighting alongside humanity in this giant all-out war against the demons, and there's actual intrigue involving the mysterious makers and their role in this whole conflict. This is the strongest a Doom story has ever been, even if that's not a bar you'd have to double jump over. Besides the setting, the big thing that separates Doom the Dark Ages from previous entries in the series is the addition of the Slayer's shield, and all the abilities that come with it. Now, rather than being forced to avoid taking damage by constantly staying on the move and jumping around like a madman, you're often encouraged to charge straight forward into danger with your shield. Now, rather than being forced to avoid taking damage by constantly staying on the move and jumping around like a madman, you're often encouraged to charge straight forward into danger with your shield at the ready to either block or deflect enemy attacks. Any attack that is red can be blocked until your shield's depleted, and anything that's green can be reflected with a well-timed guard to not only deal substantial damage, but also stun most monsters it hits. Even on Nightmare difficulty, which is what I did my playthrough on, the parry timing is very generous. But fortunately, you can fine-tune it however you like in the menus, along with a ton of other handy difficulty modifiers. The other key shield technique is a charging bash attack that can be used to quickly close the distance between you and your enemy. Think the Super Shotgun's grapple in Doom Eternal, only faster. You can use it with any weapon, and it's on a relatively quick cooldown. I know, fun, right? Relative's grapple in Doom Eternal, only faster. You can use it with any weapon, and it's on a relatively quick cooldown. I know, fun, right?
Oh my god.
This combination of being able to use the shield both defensively to block and stun, and then offensively to quickly zip in and out is what really elevates the Dark Ages combat to the stratosphere by making it still feel very fast and exciting, even with the removal of things like double jumps, quick dashes, and fast weapon swaps. We get the best of both worlds, in that this Slayer is still extremely mobile, but also feels like a heavily armored tank thanks to loud footsteps and a devastating shockwave when you land from a high jump. The shield's utility doesn't end there either. Eventually, you'll also get the ability to toss the shield out Captain America style to instantly decapitate tons of fodder enemies all at once. Or, if you use it against larger enemies, it will continuously buzzsaw into them, keeping them incapacitated for a short while. This is an extremely useful skill, but I found it to be especially potent against the Arachnotron enemies that like to pepper me with a constant stream of non-reflectable bullets. If they're unarmored, I can just toss my shield to stop them from shooting, dash in, and all it takes is a single Super Shotgun blast to ready them for an execution. Those abilities are key to surviving
AMG Day 2. Day 3, Day 3. Aku lupa 3 hari.
Has some sort of weakness like this, and unlike Doom Eternal, they are rarely weapon specific. There's no more switching to the combat shotgun specifically to pop a grenade into a cacademon's mouth, then swapping to the rifle to snipe the guns off.
Kalau macam ada orang rasa miss out tiba-tiba tak boleh buat MG, don't worry, nanti kalau tiba-tiba ada korang yang rasa macam nak cosplay kat event lain-lain yang bukan main event, boleh je arrange. Tapi tapi saya rasa MG I think it should be okay lah. I mean, korang mesti nak pergi MG tau.
The enemies are largely the same usual suspects that have been in most of the other
event lain apa tak kisah sangat.
Hell Knights, Mancubi, and the aforementioned Arachnotron, and even the Cyber Demon, all of whom behave as you would expect. Others have gotten new facelifts to better match with the new setting, like the Pinky, who's now a mount with a demon archer riding him, and the new Cacodemon that hails from the Cosmic Realm. The Dark Ages even brings back the Vagary as a mini-boss who hasn't been seen since Doom 3. Overall, there's a nice variety in the enemies, and even those you fought a million times before have a few new tricks to make them fit better in the Dark Ages
Rasa
combat.
patut ke aku main game ni main susah, difficulty yang paling susah terus. Not Ultra Nightmare, Nightmare. Ultra Nightmare tu gila pun tu, mati sekali aku kena start balik. Itu lain kali lah. Aku rasa boleh kot try susah terus. Buat kita gila.
I had to make sure that I was using my shield bash to disengage in addition to engaging to keep them off my back. One noteworthy omission from the Dark Ages
the game looks pretty fast though actually. Mana ada slow. Tak adalah laju macam jet dalam Doom Eternal, tak adalah, tapi still fast what. Orang kata slow. Tak slow pun aku tengok ni ha. Apa yang slow Bodoh lah korang ha. Korang tak main ni dah complain. Aku sepak gak korang. Aku bedal gak korang. Bukan korang. I mean bukan korang obviously. The apa? You know, netizen. Ya. Benda dah apa? Ingat tak macam Batman dulu. Oh, apa Batman Twilight benda tu. Tengok Robert Pattinson gempak jadi Batman ah. Korang cakap apa sekarang?
As far as the actual weapons go, the Dark Ages plays around a lot with the look of each weapon given an old time.
Yes tu, dia kena tu. Actually, orang tengok Twilight, padahal dia movie lain ni banyak dah aku tengok. Dia boleh berlakon.
The combat super shotguns,
dah.
assault rifle that shoots out rail spikes instead of
Bodoh tu.
bullets, a plasma rifle, and a
Lepas tu,
long-range single shot
apa
weapon in
lama-
the form
apa
of a
lagi yang
satisfying steel ball launcher,
macam apa?
just to name a handful.
Ni Superman baru ni pun orang tengah komplain pasal dia kan. Aku macam korang kau komplain lah korang komplain.
Chain gun, but has a ridiculous spread that can just absolutely shred a football's field worth
Mana?
of fodder enemies. It's a fun weapon that goes great with the Dark Ages. Absolutely.
Ada orang baru jadi ada pelakon baru Superman sekarang. I mean nak buat macam mana kan? Snyder dah tak shit.
There's an upgrade that powers up the shield charge when
Asyik
you do.
buat hal.
One interesting twist for how the
Tah,
Dark Ages handles its
benda
arsenal is that
Snyder
just
lah,
about every gun
WB
has a
themselves
sister
juga,
weapon
Warner
that
Brothers
uses
pun.
the same ammo
Betul.
type and can be hot swap between with the press of a button. So, for example, along with a rocket launcher, there's a grenade launcher. In addition to the aforementioned pulverizer that does a little bit of damage spread out over a wide area, there's a Ravager that concentrates the fire to hit single enemies. It all adds up to a ton of variety in the gunplay. And while I was never forced to swap between my weapons in the same way that I was in Doom Eternal, I still found myself jumping from gun to gun simply because it's fun. But the absolute best part about the toolbox in the Dark Ages is, and this
Skull-
is a
skull
credit to the
grinder
weapon
tu,
designers that
nampak.
did, because this is true for just about every Doom game.
Bam. Aku suka yang dia boleh tolak pakai shield tu, sepak dia.
Sure, I might have my favorites and gravitate more towards the super shotgun, rocket launcher,
Bam.
and single shot. But even
Boom,
the
bam,
early weapons
tak.
stay relevant once you get some upgrades into them. If I'm low on armor, I can swap to the combat shotgun.
Aku
that I
suka gila
upgrade to
sebab
ignite
every
enemies
Doom
and
game so
equip
far
my
yang
armor
3 game ni
shotgun.
semua lain-lain gila.
If
Doom
I need help,
16
I can swap to the
lain.
Ravager to make them bleed
Doom
alcohol.
Eternal lain
And
gameplay.
if I need
Ini
to
pun lain
incapacitate
gameplay.
an enemy while also dealing
Betul
damage to
grafik
others
dia sekarang
nearby,
pun.
I can throw my
Tapi
shield
aku tak
into
kisah
the
sangat
back
pasal
of
grafik.
the shield
Tapi
and
dia
watch as
memang
the bullets
nampak lah dia
ricochet and
improve.
hit everyone else around.
Harap-harap dia lagi
So
optimize
in
lah.
the pot, all of these abilities and weapons are sprinkled at a measured pace throughout the campaign. There was never even a chance for the gunplay to get stale because every level would give me a new gun, or a new ability for my shield, or a new melee weapon, or I'd find enough gold
No,
to
dia punya
afford a new
flail tu kan.
upgrade at the shop,
Tak,
or
kalau
alter
boleh buat
something I
flail tu
already
sekali
had
kan.
in a way that
Tak
made me
apalah,
want to
sabar
use
je.
it more. And it's this need to upgrade that fed into my desire
Aku
to
aku
explore
commission
and
dekat
find both upgrade
Amar ni
currencies
je.
and the more
Apa nama?
traditional Doom collectibles like
Aku commission
figurines,
dekat
weapon skins,
dia punya
and
shotgun
more.
dengan shield dia.
Appropriately, the levels of
Iconic.
the Dark Ages welcomed that exploration with open arms.
Aku tak tahu lah kat
They
MJ dah
all
ada
vary in
ke orang
size,
cosplay
the
Doom
smaller
nanti.
stages
Tapi
are
kalau
still
tak
played by
ada
the series
sampai
standards,
CF
and the big
mana
levels
kalau
are
lah tak ada.
gigantic.
Yang aku lah yang pertama yang buat Dark Ages version. Kalau tak kalau ada pun tak kisah pun cosplay. Still jarang tu orang buat. Orang still ambil gambar kot. Allahu Akbar. Allahu Akbar. Dia tunjuk iklan. Tengok je kat Shopee YouTube Premium berapa lah.
Breaking up all the
Anjay
running and
tu.
gunning are giant mecha battles and flying sections where you pilot the Slayer's dragon. Yes, the Doom Slayer has a dragon, because why not? These sections are shallow compared to the rest of the Dark Ages, with the mecha sections amounting to little more than a simple game of dodge, punch, punch, dodge, punch, punch. And the dragon
Oh,
bits are little more than dodge, shoot, shoot, dodge, shoot, shoot.
still ada gameplay shot
That
shoot
said,
dodge,
they're kind of like a
tapi
turret sequence in that they're infrequent and brief enough to never drag the pacing down, and they at least provide cool moments in the cutscenes that precede and follow them.
aku tak tahu macam mana nak buat video review
And
kalau
then there's the
review yang
secret
first
holy
impression lepas aku main. Tengoklah
If
macam
you've
ni.
played the Doom game before, you probably know what to expect going in. But even so, I was
Record lah, yang penting kena record sebab bila dah tengah edit video kan, kau kena ambil.
certain levels after being the campaign and just turning down all the volume except for the music so I could listen without it being overpowered by the sounds of shotgun blasts, explosions, and dying demons.
Lepas tu overlay aku aku rasa aku tutup lah overlay aku sebab biar time aku nak edit tu dia tak ada apa sangat.
Far from just being more Doom, Doom the Dark Ages is a new flavor of the
Ataupun
legendary
aku
shooter
guna
series
outplay
that's
je,
heavier
on
and more
outplay je
grounded,
untuk biar
but
record.
no less energetic and exhilarating.
Okey
The
kak.
new Shield is an outstanding addition that adds a ton of both
Sebab outplay ni dan time zaman aku main Valorant, main Rival pun dia record juga. Apa semua dulu kan outplay record. Dia auto. Game ni kena manual aku rasa. Aku malas nak guna Nvidia tu.
Another pumped up heavy metal soundtrack backing the excellent weapon, level, and enemy design, and it has once again proven that
Wah,
legacy
IGN bagi
shotgun
9.
blasts
Wow,
point
how
range,
rare.
they don't miss.
Aku rasa game ni kalau game ni dapat lagi tinggi daripada Doom Eternal, aku boleh tahu kenapa. Sebab game ni sesuai untuk orang yang tak biasa main Doom dengan orang yang biasa main Doom, dua-dua sesuai. Sebab dia punya sebab dia ada melee, ada apa? Kau nak melee, kau nak slow pun boleh, nak apa pun boleh. Tak payah nak terbang sangat game ni. Kau you basically are you're pretty much a tank.
We would go and it was like the first
You are
time
I don't know which tank.
game's graphics. It also was like
Not an Abrams. Maybe a title tank or maybe.
Oh my god, have you played Doom?
I don't
You
know.
can chainsaw people in half in that game. It's crazy. And then the second reason I would say is, here's the secret: the way that Doom has evolved, especially recently, ever since 2016, it's kind of become an action game. It really scratches those same itches that a game like Devil May Cry or Bayonetta does. When I'm playing,
Aku nampak sangat dia
Dark Ages,
inspiration
my
dia
brain's
daripada
going like 100 miles an hour.
Devil
I'm
May Cry
thinking to
sikit.
myself,
Tengok
okay, I'm
dia
gonna zip over here,
cara dia buat
I'm gonna
combo
super
tu.
shotgun this guy, execute him.
Dengan
I'm
Souls
taking
like
damage.
sikit.
I'm gonna go to these fodder guys over here, get a bunch of health. Then I'm
Bang,
that guy
bang,
has a
bang.
explosive barrel next to him. I'm gonna shoot that, zip over here, etc., etc. It's the same kind of thing as Devil May Cry, where I'm gonna uppercut this guy, jump in the air, attack.
Yes,
jump
actually
cancel,
true.
jump
Yes.
cancel, knock him away, pull him back, slam him down. It's that feeling of having your brain just constantly go. And that's what I've
Sebab
always
aku
really
kata
loved about
sesuai
the
sebab
action game
game
genre.
ni dia
Doom
hari tu
really
psycho
scratches
dia tak
the
minat,
same
dia
kind
bukan
of
tak minat,
itches,
dia
especially Doom
dia,
Dark
dia
Ages.
macam tak berapa nak minat sangat lah dekat Doom Eternal Doom sebab kau terbang kan. Tapi kalau when it comes to Doom Dark Ages dia minat. Aku cakap dengan Psycho, kau main, kau tunggu kau beli kau beli Game Pass je sebab game ni dalam Game Pass day one.
Why do you think that is? Where do you
Main 15 dah keluar dah.
between those two past Doom games, and then also where do you think the Dark Ages fits between them?
I mean
Yeah,
beli
well,
sebulan
like I
kan
said,
lah baru
I'm a big
main
action
habis.
guy, so Doom Eternal is, the pinnacle, I would say.
Macam aku
of
kadang-kadang
shooters.
kalau nak
Like,
beli
it's
Game Pass
probably
ni aku
my
selalu
favorite
terus beli
shooter
setahun.
of all time. But it is interesting because you look at
Aku
the
terus beli
Metacritic
setahun
of
sebab
Doom Eternal, and
beli setahun
you would
rasa
think
macam
that it's
harga
universally
game
beloved.
AAA tapi dapat banyak
But
gila game,
everyone
so
that I've
for a
personally
year I
talked
don't have
to
to pay
has
lah.
a
Tapi
device
kadang-kadang
opinion
aku
on it.
tak ada duit
They
sangat.
really love it,
Aku kalau macam
or
tengah
they're like,
short duit,
and
aku
it's just
beli
not
sebulan ni lah
2016,
ataupun
man.
3-6 bulan ni.
And the
3
reality
bulan
is
ni.
that,
Kalau
Doom
betul-betul
has
nak main game lah.
changed. Every iteration of Doom has been kind of the same core, but it's been kind of a different flavor. And some people just don't
Also
like
kalau
the
laptop
flavor
kau
of Doom Eternal. They
potato,
don't like, having
aku
to
pakai
constantly
GeForce
go
Now tu.
on ammo on certain weapons that they like using.
Tapi kalau
They
connection
don't
kau okay lah.
having to quickly swap between two weapons to burst down really tough enemies. And you know, they might not like just the fact that you have to constantly be double jumping, constantly dashing, constantly, you know, on the move to avoid dying in that game. Doom Eternal is also very hard. I would say Doom the Dark Ages brings down the difficulty substantially compared to Doom Eternal, and that might be something that people might not really appreciate about it. But I kind of look at it as, you know, this is doing something different that I can still appreciate, and Doom Eternal still exists. I can still go back to Doom Eternal and play that anytime I want. But this is fun in a different way. A different but similar way.
In your review, you do talk about this idea that, you know, there's this huge arsenal, all the weapons are fun, all the weapons stay relevant late into the game, are used in these sort of specialized scenarios where they're better or worse, or you might prefer one or the other. But I do want to know, because this is going to be a question, right? You got to have a favorite. You got to have something that just made you smile to use it. What weapon do you just want to gush about?
I mean, I mentioned it so many times in the review, but the Super Shotgun, man, there's just something about id shotguns that is just so satisfying. It's hard to beat,
Oh my
man.
god,
It's hard to beat just getting up in someone's
wow,
face,
bapak
blasting
ni.
50
Satisfying
pellets
je.
into their giant bloated chest. and then
Memang
just
memang
watching
lepas
them
geram
explode.
tu.
Well, I guess the only question I'm left with is, you know, Final Fantasy 16 kind of morphed from an RPG into an action game, and Doom has morphed from a shooter to an action game. So is Devil May Cry just the end point of all video games, is the real thing we have to be wondering at this point?
You know what? If we're moving towards a perfect world, I would say I would like to see that.
Well, Mitchell, thank you so much for chatting with me a little bit more about your review, your tastes. If you want more from Mitchell, his last review was Fatal Fury City of the Wolves. You can check out that. We have another conversation about that game at the end there. If you want more action shootery type games, we recently reviewed La Chimera and Shotgun Cop Man. Check both of those out as well. Shotgun Cop Man, also a game where you're shooting shotguns in hell. So maybe
That game
that's
is so
your
cool,
taste.
man. I want to play that so bad. I just haven't had time.
Well, maybe now that the review's done, maybe that's
No,
what you'll
probably
be doing.
not. I got another one coming up.
Yeah, I guess that's true. Well, keep an eye out for that one and any other games on IGN.
All right. For once, good job, IGN. That's pretty good job. Wow. I'm not subscribing to you, but that was a pretty good review from you for like a while now. Yeah, this guy knows his shit. Like, this guy should be the reviewer of IGN, bro. Like, what the hell are y'all doing hiring people who don't even know what games are? Like, this should be the reviews. Like, this is who you should hire, man. Just keep hiring this guy, man. Give him a raise as well. Like, fucking pay him more, man. For fuck's sake. Anyways.
Novik, the Slayer is en route.
Now for my favorite reviewer, G-Man Lives.
Assault mode engaged.
Well, it's finally here, the long-awaited follow-up to id Software's Doom Eternal with Doom the Dark Ages. The prequel story we never knew we wanted for one of gaming's most badass protagonists. A guy who's really mastered the art of if looks could kill. And if you're like me and you've been frothing over this thing for the last 6 months, then you'll no doubt be stoked to finally be able to play it. And after having beaten this thing twice, I can honestly say that id Software have delivered, in that this is a Doom game, kind of. It's just instead of it being rip and tear, it's more like parry and tear, with one new game mechanic fundamentally impacting how the whole thing plays overall. And while I do like some aspects of what they've achieved here, there are some other things that really have me raising an eyebrow, kind of questioning everything I once held dear. I can still wholeheartedly recommend it though, just with a few caveats. I'll also be doing my best to keep spoilers to an absolute minimum, and I've done my best to not use footage from any of the late chapters or key cinematics. Having said all of that, let's get into it.
Slayer, prepped for launch.
Right, so the The story takes place before the events of Doom Eternal and 2016, at a point when the Slayer is being kept under control by the Makers, who are that weird alien race that want to basically use hell as an energy source. The overarching plot is about the Makers working with King Novik and his Knight Sentinels and the Slayer during a demonic uprising, where a guy named Prince Azrak is assuming control of the Horde and trying to capture Argent D'Nur.
I will be informing the High Council of your progress.
With there also being lots of references to old gods and all that other lovely Lovecraftian stuff that the internet just can't seem to get enough of. If you're at all familiar with what happens in Doom Eternal though, then you remember that the Makers aren't
Lepas
exactly
tu
good guys.
game
And
ni
although
kat
the Slayers essentially
lagi
forced
banyak
to work for
story
them
tau.
to use for what seems like the right reasons, allegiances shift about the game and eventually ends up working more in
And
line with the
gameplay
Knight
still good.
particularly with Novik's daughter, Commander Thera, who kinda looks like a player model out of Quake 3 Arena, and one who has vastly more screen time than even our boy does.
Bishop Creed, we need him.
And that is the dilemma you face with this kind of character, where you've got someone who's essentially mute, but then you also need to convey all this lore and information with all these other various groups and factions. Which means that every single cutscene is just everyone else talking, while the Slayer, if he's even there to begin with, stands in the background brooding away. I also think I speak for almost everyone here as well when I ask, what the fuck is going on with this story?
Damn, Tira kinda hard though, not gonna lie,
A
wood.
little bit at the start there, but when we
They
ended
gotta-
up in the cosmic realm and Cthulhu gods appeared and started walking around, I just got absolutely lost. I did find the cinematics in this to often be incredibly disjointed as well, where you might get like a really cool one at the end of a level where all this stuff kicks off, only for the chapter to abruptly end. And then when the next one starts, it's like there's been a time jump or something we weren't told about, because everyone's now back at base or in a completely different area. It's like, remember how at the start of Doom Eternal, how it all just kicked off with the Slayer at his little fortress of solitude in space and never explained how we got there? Yeah, well, that's what happens quite a lot here, where it just feels like there was another cutscene missing in between to explain what happened. The ending is also kind of abrupt as well and doesn't even really tell us or show us anything. So if you're expecting it to seamlessly pivot into what happens in 2016 or Eternal, well then don't. Plus, it's also kind of hilarious in hindsight, looking back at all those people desperately trying to make Quake connections here, and now having finished it and seeing it literally has no Quake references at all. I mean, maybe there's some kind of obscure Easter egg hidden away somewhere, but outside of the whole Lovecraftian aspect and some of the medieval aesthetics, which I still don't think even fully looks like Quake anyway, there really is no connection. Having said that though, there is a whole lot of cool looking shit in this game, and some of the cutscenes still gave me goosebumps on my arms and balls. All that stuff involving the cosmic realm, which I'm not going to spoil or show at all, is incredibly awesome, and the art style of these areas alone really deserves some kind of award. This is the first game to run on that id Tech Engine 8, and I think one of the biggest crimes of the modern gaming age is that more developers don't use this engine. Because, damn son, it's often absolutely gorgeous. And a lot of the new stuff involving all the Knight Sentinels and their armies is very reminiscent of Warhammer 40k, with a whole pseudo-science fiction vibe and then the things like these large mech suits firing off humongous weapons.
More Titans ahead. Support team, deploy weaponry.
There's also some very underappreciated skyboxes in this game, and if you ever spend the time to go off and look off into the distance, you're gonna see some awesome looking vistas, where you can see these epic battles just roaring off there on the horizon. It is also worth mentioning as well, and this isn't sponsored by Nvidia by the way, but this does come with those Nvidia features as well, like DLSS 4 and ray tracing. Despite running buttery smooth the entire time with all of the settings maxed out, I do have to say that I did have some pretty consistent crashing and freezing issues. However, I'm really hoping that this is more to do with me just playing this before any kind of day one patch. Now, at least on a basic level, this does have all of the hallmarks of a Doom game, with there even being some series veterans making a return like the Imps, the Mancubus, and the Arachnotrons, along with a new variant of the Whiplash, which is somehow even more annoying. Plus, there's even some older faces that we've not seen for a while, like the Nightmare Imps, which I don't think have been in a Doom game since Doom 64. I will say too that this is definitely one of the easiest Doom games we've had in a long time, especially coming off some of those crushing sequences in the Ancient Gods Part 1 and 2, where again Ultra Violence is really the normal difficulty, with Nightmare being hard mode and then Ultra Nightmare really just being for masochists. And it does seem like the best way to play this is either on Ultra Violence or Nightmare. I mean, I did mess around with both of these to see the differences, and you can get away with so many mistakes on Ultra Violence, whereas on Nightmare, it's still a case of if you slip up once or twice, it's pretty much curtains. The thing is, I'd say the difficulty mode doesn't mean all that much anymore anyway, considering you can customize every single aspect of it at any time with these new sliders, which is great in the sense that it lets everyone cater the experience to their own preferences, making it as easy or hard as you really want to. Either way though, you very quickly figure out how to approach each scenario, with it being that very familiar gameplay loop, where the combat's a combination of focusing on the heavy demons and then using those fodder demons in the area to manage your resources. Instead of a chainsaw to regain your ammo, you've got a few melee weapons, with the first being the Slayer's Gauntlet, which offers up a standard punch, able to be used 3 times in a row before it has to recharge.
What the fuck?
After that, you get the Flail, which is just an objective upgrade, and does way more damage, along with also staggering nearby enemies. Before finally, the last weapon, which is the Dread Mace, really the closest we get to an actual chainsaw, considering it only has 1 charge and can kill most demons in a single hit. Refilling all of your ammo with a single use, whereas the other weapons only refill smaller segments. I don't think it's even possible to overstate just how broken this thing is. I mean, it really does even make short work of the toughest enemies. And when you get that upgrade that lets you use it twice after a successful parry, even more so. Either way though, all of this stuff is important because, much like Doom Eternal, resource management plays a huge part in the overall gameplay loop, with the player still largely in control of how much health, armor, and ammo they have. It's like if you're running low on health, well, then go off and kill some of the fodder enemies to top up again. Need more armor? Whip out the shotgun and set something on fire. Or take out those grunts armed with the shields. And then if you want more ammo, well, you just whack someone in the face a bunch of times until you're topped up again. Instead of glory kills now, we've got executions, which really still achieves the same result, along with a glory strike, which weakens a tougher demon without actually killing them, which is definitely like a lot quicker and less detailed than some of those animations we got in Doom Eternal, a lot of which were just amazingly creative. Still though, some of these are pretty gnarly, like the one for the Mancubus for instance, where the Slayer cuts the thing from head to taint, slicing it right down the middle like he's dissecting a carcass. Damn. But it's not really offering up anything super new in all that regard, and it's very easy to quickly fall back into that familiar rhythm of using all of these elements in the game well to your advantage. What is the new
There is a glory kill. There is a glory kill.
Familiar rhythm of using all of these elements in the game well to your advantage. What is the new game changer though? Quite literally, game well to your advantage. What is the new
There we go.
What is the new game changer though, quite literally, is the Slayer's new shield, which is something that's been plastered onto every piece of advertising material, and yeah man, rightly so, considering this new addition is an integral component to the gameplay. It's the kind of thing that makes Captain America's shield look like a frisbee in comparison, And not only can you use it to shred through the fodder demons, but you're going to need it to block and parry the unrelenting and never-ending attacks from those tougher enemies.
Oh my god, man, I'm a fucking badass, man. Oh my god.
Where with the simple press of a button, the Slayer's going to hold this thing up and then can avoid all incoming
Kalau aku
damage.
main Master Tual lepas main game ni, kalau aku ada tu bukan duit lebih mahal duk aku beli game ni. Tapi aku main Sword and Shield lah hari ni. Sebab Shield ataupun main apa?
It's an unwritten law at this point that every single game has to have a parry mechanic. Honestly, it's pretty simple stuff. Red attacks can only be blocked, but green attacks can be parried. And in the case of projectiles, often sent right back to their sender.
Aku tu dalam world ada orang buat mod dia buat Doom Slayer lah. Tapi while aku tak ada dulu.
With loud, chunky effects that make it seem like you're deflecting howitzer shells. In fact, ironically, a lot of the time you end up putting yourself in the direct line of fire for these projectiles, just so you can deflect them and reap the benefits. You can also lock onto enemies and do a shield charge, flying into them from a distance, which is great for stunning the bigger ones, and then just obliterating those fodder demons. But I also just found it really good for quickly closing the distance so I could execute something as well. Another big component of the gameplay is how the demons are all covered in heavy armor, and after heating their armor up through basic attacks, a quick throw of the shield is going to cause that armor to shatter, resulting in not only some pretty sweet ASMR, but then also leaving these enemies vulnerable to other attacks. Also then opening up what I think has to be one of the best crowd control mechanics in the game, where after you've unlocked that razor attachment, the shield can be thrown into enemies.
Oh, the razor is a fucking attachment. Oh, damn. That is really cool. You gotta find it first.
Lifesaver against some of those tougher demons.
Hi there.
Ala bodoh dah iklan.
Precious is here for you. That finishing button and plus.
There is also some variety in there with the parrying thanks to the shield runes, which gives you a bunch of different bonuses. So like the first one you get sends out a spread of lava on the ground, doing damage to anything that's caught up in the blast. The second one sends out a bunch of spectral knives doing extra damage as well, and then the third one makes a small turret pop out, shooting nearby enemies. With the final one then causing a lightning bolt to drop down and shock enemies, which, yeah, is pretty awesome. I mean, look, like I might be a grumpy old man reaching the ripe age of 40, but the simple sight of someone getting struck by a lightning bolt is still enough to entertain me. The thing is as well is that you have to use this shield. In fact, your very livelihood depends on it, because the movement speed in the Dark Ages is a lot slower than it was before, and either blocking or parrying attacks is absolutely essential. And you'll really realize how important it is if you ever temporarily break it, which seems to happen from mostly blocking too many of those red projectiles, where you then feel about as defenseless as a kitten with a $100 bill tucked into its collar. Occasionally you might have to use it to get around the environment, like for breaking chains or using it to grapple up to higher ledges, but the majority of its uses come during the combat, and it's a mechanic you just can't get around. And it's all kind of funny to me because one of the main criticisms that Doom Eternal had was how a lot of people said the game forced you to play it a certain way. So now what they've done here is essentially double down on that with this whole shield mechanic. A mechanic which, by the way, feels wholly un-Doom-like. I mean, Doom's always been about avoiding damage, staying mobile and dodging attacks, not hunkering down and taking all that damage head on.
That's the fucking music? Oh man, badass.
As for the weapons, if nothing else, this is a pretty solid lineup, where what it does is give you 2 weapons for each slot, with each of them using the same ammo type but offering up different effects. For instance, the rocket launcher and the grenade launcher sharing the same spot. The thing I found though is that some of these are really outmatched by their alternate versions, or in some instances just kinda redundant to begin with the first example being the super shotgun, which I think just kind of pales in comparison to the usefulness of the basic shotgun.
In the quiet words of the Virgin Mary, come again.
Now I kind of touched on this in my preview video, but to quickly reiterate, the standard shotgun has an upgrade which gives it a burst fire mode, along with another one that also lights enemies on fire, causing them to drop armor shards. which means you not only get the damage benefit of a burst fire, but also incredibly necessary armor shards. And spamming the tougher demons and even the bosses with this thing is an effective tactic that really works throughout the entire game. Compared to the super shotgun, which, yeah, does really good damage, but that's about it. Not to mention, it has a much shorter range. I mean, like, don't get me wrong, this thing still absolutely fucks. But I really just ended up using it when I got bored and wanted to mix things up. And I think it really still loses out to the standard shotgun. The other example is with the Shredder and the Impaler. Now the Shredder is more or less your heavy cannon, just a fast-firing machine gun kind of weapon, whereas the Impaler fires off a single slow-moving projectile that does way more damage, just with an insane amount of drop-off. However, this thing can pretty much kill the Imps and even the Hell Knights with a single well-placed headshot. Whereas with the Shredder, you've really got to lean on the fire button for a few good seconds to actually kill something. Skull Crusher is that
Welcome back. Psycho, watch the new trailer of Doom Without Ages, man.
I did.
Oh, the thing
also comes with the incredibly cool
you did.
Let's go. Practically shredding enemies to pieces, rending flesh from their bones in real time.
Oh, gila. Holy shit, man. I'm watching the reviews right now. Oh my god.
Catch there is that
Memang
its
betul.
range is pretty short.
All
And then
about
you find the Ravager, which is more or less the exact same weapon, only with
I wish I was playing it.
Just objectively making it a
Mana keluar bodoh, belum lagi lah. May 13 bro.
that causes enemies hit by it to constantly drop health pickups. Which
May 13 for me lah, early access. Kalau for day one, Game Pass or Steam, day one extended, 15.
In lieu of like a traditional plasma rifle, we've got the accelerator
Kalau
and
kau
the
ada
cycler,
Game
both
Pass,
of which really do
boleh
function the
preload.
same,
Tak
just
silap
being
bila boleh
given
preload, aku
names.
lupa.
And both of which serve as a way of being able to quickly
13
deal
ke
with
14
enemies
dah boleh
holding
preload.
energy shields. Because again, like a few shots are going to cause those things to explode.
Biarkan PC kau
But even
buka
then, like, you unlock an
download. Aku rasa
ability
game
early
dia
on
besar
that lets you do this with the
130 gig
shield.
apa.
Anyway,
Kan 100
yeah,
gig.
there's like an early upgrade here that makes it so this thing's going to bounce off energy shields, chaining to nearby enemies as well. Which, yeah, is not only super useful, but
memang
a
Captain
lot
America
quicker
tu.
than swapping out
Holy
the
shit, memang Captain
accelerator or the
America
cycler
bodoh.
for a single
Holy
enemy.
shit, assemble!
Oh, that's a good idea.
The accelerator does have an upgrade where it overheats from firing too much, and then you can expunge all that excess heat. Kind of similar to the plasma rifle mod in Doom 2016.
Apparently the saw, like the razor on his shield,
And then the
apparently that's an
cycler has the
attachment.
ability
So
to shock demons, which stuns
holy
them
shit.
and also
Yeah,
nearby enemies. But
cari
neither of
juga.
these
Well,
seem
okay,
to
that
do
makes
all
it
that
more
much
fun.
damage to armor, which is something that becomes really important later on. About halfway into the game, you get the grenade and the rocket launcher, but again, neither of these I really found myself using all that much. And that's not to say that either of these are bad. In fact, the grenade launcher in particular has an upgrade where every second direct hit also drops a cluster of smaller grenades. And if you've got a nice wide open space to use it, you can spam this thing relentlessly and get some nice results. Plus, the rocket launcher's got a super useful upgrade too, where after parrying an attack, splash damage actually heals you for a few seconds, which kind of gives you carte blanche to spam it at point blank range without any kind of dramas. But outside of a couple of instances when I had to use these things to get one of the challenges complete, I just never found myself wanting to use either of them. Because all of these guns are just overshadowed by what's hands down the best weapon in the game with a chain shot.
Now you're all in big trouble.
Now, I'm going to say I was a bit hesitant of this thing from the short time I had with it in the demo, but after having used it in the full game, I realized just how misplaced that was, considering how much damage this weapon does to enemy armor. I mean, a fully charged up attack can usually knock an enemy's armor off in a single hit, on nightmare difficulty of all things. Yeah, which is really crucial on a difficulty where you really don't want to be dicking around with the enemy
I'm
for
tempted
longer
to just
than
play
you
on
have to.
Nightmare, which is the
Plus,
second
the range
hardest.
on it is a lot further than you
The second
think,
hardest
which
is
again renders
well, the
weapons like
hardest
the
one
super
is the
shotgun
one
and the
where
Impaler
it's
completely
basically
redundant.
Ultra
Not only
Nightmare.
that, but
It's
there's an
basically
upgrade where
Nightmare,
after
but
parrying an attack, it
you only
charges
have
the
one
weapon
life.
up. So you can bypass that 2-second
Yeah, I'm not gonna play that, bro. I'm not gonna play that. I'm gonna play Nightmare at the very least.
90% of the time parrying, like the
But
Cyber Demon, becomes really
like I said
effective.
in the post, anyone wants to play this, I welcome them to play on easy mode because easy mode is low
In fact,
accurate
I honestly
Doomslayer.
reckon you could get to the entire game just by using this weapon alone. And I think most of my
That
time
is
is
so
spent
true,
either
man.
using this or the shotgun.
It's
Just
funny
going back
how
and forth between
fucking
either of them,
fucking
depending
easy
on
mode
whether
is
I
the
needed
low
armor or
accurate
not. And the
Doomslayer,
fact that the
while
weapon's
the
movement
hardest
speed
mode
is a lot
in
slower
Halo is
now,
the most low
combined with
accurate
how
Master Chief.
redundant some of the weapons feel, also discourages changing away from it even more.
Call of Duty, low accurate, Call of Duty yang paling
With the
susah.
Dark Ages take on this being a humongous ballista / crossbow looking thing. And I do
Oh,
think the
that's the
crossbow
BFG.
design is a neat idea and a cool way to integrate it into the whole medieval theme they've got going on. But ammo for this thing is rarer than photos of your mum with her clothes on. So it's absolutely still going to be that get out of jail free card, best reserved for the absolute most annoying encounters.
Hello. Lu,
As
na,
for the
na,
gameplay,
na, Lu.
well, the Dark Ages brings back that very familiar
Lu, na,
sandbox
apa,
feel
pakai
of the
Akira?
level design, where it just really lets
Lu,
you
na,
loose
tempat
in
dia.
all
Na,
these
Lu.
different looking environments.
Ke Lu,
and
Akira ke Luis?
Really, again, perfectly capturing the whole, I'm not locked in here with you, you're all locked in here
Lah,
with
kau tak
me kind
perasan
of
ke?
vibe. With there being 22 chapters in the story
Oh,
all up,
okay.
some of which are played on foot, and then about 6 or 7 which either have you flying around on the back of a dragon or in the cockpit of one of these humongous Titan suits. Where Hugo Martin's earlier days working on Pacific Rim are really stuck.
Oh, Pacific Rim, memang tu. Pacific Rim, bodoh.
What I'm not super fond of
Yeah, that's
is how
Max.
it seems every second level is a giant open map with like a dozen different secrets to find. And while this might sound good on paper, all it does is really just kinda kill the pacing. Because you genuinely forget what your overarching goal is when you're just aimlessly running around collecting the 50th gold pickup in that level. The Siege chapter is a perfect example of this. It's one early on at a point where you've gotten a few of the key weapons, and then there's enough stuff out there in the environment to really let you experiment with different tactics to try them all out. And it almost works like a second tutorial in a way. It's like a more advanced sandbox for the player to start getting the knack for some of the more intricate mechanics, along with how enemies behave before you get into those later game chapters where the difficulty really ramps up. Plus there's the 3 side challenges you can complete as well, earning extra gold that funnels back into the various upgrades, which is a mechanic that's also in all of these chapters. And an open map like this, I think, is fine, but when every second one is the same huge, super complex area to explore, that it ends up feeling like a bit of a slog trying to find everything. And yes, I know that all the Doom games have always encouraged lots of exploration and secret hunting, but the levels didn't take you an hour to get through every single time, not even close. Besides, you're not even really secret hunting either, because all of this stuff shows up on the map even before you've discovered it. So I can remember back to that hell level in Doom 2016 or the Ark Complex in Doom Eternal, where you spend an eternity looking around for all the secrets. Yeah, well, now imagine that for every second or third chapter, of which there is 22 in total.
Aku rasa nak beli
I
lah
know,
balik
like, it just
Discord
doesn't
Nitro.
feel very
Sabarlah,
Doom-like
next
to
month,
me.
next month.
The other dilemma with this as well is that a lot of the
Tiger.
items you need to upgrade your weapons and shield are all
Discord
hidden
Tiger
away
pun boleh,
in
man.
the maps, particularly these
You know what?
gems which unlock the higher tier weapon upgrades. With the top tier one,
I want to make my I want to make my Discord very Doom aesthetic, so I'm getting Discord Nitro.
Wolf statues hidden around the map.
Oh no, Anna, api kejap. I forgot, sorry Anna.
The other issue is that the checkpoints during these can often be super sporadic, and you usually only get one after completing a main objective, which means if you've been running around for 15 minutes and then either died or had the game crash, then all that progress is going to be lost. Something which could have been easily alleviated if they just included a manual save option, or, heaven forbid it, a quick save. Yeah, imagine that, a Doom game you can quick save in.
Now that's sarcasm.
The other thing is that this also does remove the whole arena element of the combat as well, because compared to Doom Eternal, where you'd often walk into an area and then enemies would all spawn in, here it's like they're all just usually standing around waiting for you, giving you the option to choose how to engage them. With the most common type being these new variant of the Imps, who walk slowly towards you like they're the T-800 or something, firing off projectiles or occasionally leaping towards you. Then there's also those other familiar faces too, like the Hell Knights, the Mancubus, the Lost Souls, and the Pinkies. Although weirdly this time you only encounter these things when they're being ridden by other demons. And yeah, I'm sure there's a joke in there somewhere about your mother and riding a demon, but it's not coming to me. Some of the redesigns for these iconic monsters do seem a bit bizarre. Like the Revenants, for instance, barely even resemble Revenants anymore. Now they're these floating wraith-looking things, wearing hoods that temporarily turn into ghosts and can't even be hit. And in fact, the only way to damage them is to wait for them to materialize or parry one of their projectiles, which seems to instantly bring them back to their physical form. Cacodemons, however, are by far the weirdest change, and this is an absolute look what they did to my boy kind of moment.
Look how they messed with my boy.
I mean, for
Man,
starters, they
kepala
don't
kepala
even
otak
resemble
Cacodemon ni.
Cacodemons at all. Like, they instead look like the
No, where's the cute Cacodemon? No, I want the cute one. Yeah, why you do
They
this?
fire out these slowly moving
No.
energy balls, which you need to dodge left and right to avoid.
Right on.
And that is something that kind of annoys me a little bit, is how almost every single enemy just has some kind of weird gimmick or trick that you have to adhere to every single time, where it's more about rote memorization than it actually is using any kind of free-forming strategy. With enemies like the Vagary, for instance, which I'm going to assume is a reference to the same enemy type in Doom 3, like these are a perfect example. Now these things are covered head to toe or head to spindle.
Oh my god. Enemy keluar, baru keluar metal music. Oh my god, I fucking love that shit.
Piece every single time. And then a few of the other demons are very reminiscent of the marauder behavior in Doom Eternal, in the sense that the distance you are from them affects how they behave. Like with this new variant of the Doom Hunters called the Agadon Hunter.
The Agadon
Now, if you hang
Hunter,
back with
yeah.
These guys, they pop up a shield and fire out projectiles, but if you get in close, they drop the shield and then try to hit you, leaving them open to parry.
Yeah, this game really encourages you to go like up close and
You
personal.
can't possibly go on the offensive or hang back because they're just gonna punish the shit out of you. Cyberdemon is also the same kind of thing, and if you stay back from this guy, he's just gonna shoot at you with his chain gun arm. But then
You know what's funny,
close, and he
Seiko?
pretty much only uses melee.
This is not the only. Apparently, they said this is not the only Doom game that's going to be based in this era.
And over.
I'm not talking about expansion. They say there will be more games about Doom Slayer during this era, or maybe post Dark Ages,
Again, an example of
or maybe
one
maybe
strategy
after,
that you pretty much have
maybe
to
even
repeat
before.
every single time you encounter this enemy type.
So they.
Is that in a specific timeline?
This timeline is the same as all the Doom games except for Doom 3.
Because both of these demons have an Olympic sized
Yeah, they're all the same. There's Doom 1 and then Doom 2 and then 64. No, sorry. I missed out some games. Doom 1, Doom 2, the final Doom and all the other expansions, the DLC too. The DLC expansions, back in the day. And then there's Doom 64, and then Doom Dark Ages, and then 2016 and Eternal.
And you just spend so much time parrying their attacks.
But then apparently there's gonna be more games in the middle of 2016 and Dark Ages. Apparently there might be more games, or there might be a game in between to 2016 and Eternal, because suddenly aku pun tak faham. A plot hole to Eternal is that why did Doom Slayer suddenly ada ship?
Barrage of powerful attacks, which otherwise can kill
Aku tak faham. They never showed it. Suddenly he has a ship in Eternal. So I'm like, maybe they will make a game in between. Or maybe they will make a game after Dark Ages, maybe more medieval fantasy, more medieval sci-fi.
For some reason, they thought it'd be a good idea to give these guys 3 or 4 times the amount of health as the standard demon.
Loki reminds me of like, it's more Warhammer 40k type shit actually, now I think about it, since it's medieval sci-fi. Eventually. What the?
Some of these fights, man, they just go fucking on and on. And there's nothing hard or challenging about it. It's just repeating the same parry move ad nauseum and then shooting back until the stupid things finally die.
I mean,
like it just
I don't mind that actually, because the fucking sounds are fucking satisfying. Haha! First person from soft game. It's like, it's basically a first person's Dark Souls.
Just punching the
with
same
guns.
humongous demons over and over.
First person
dodging out of the
Bloodborne,
way
I
of a
guess.
highly telegraphed attack and then repeating. And even easier.
Wah, aku tengok dia tumbuk dia pop
in
pop.
slow
Oh my
motion.
god.
After a few hits, you can charge up a meter and then unleash some kind of finisher. And it is a pretty cool, awesome.
It's been said that Doom Slayer can beat them without the mech. So why does he need the mech? He just wants to have fun.
But even then, the weapon has to be charged up by dodging enemies, the exact same way you.
It's just cooler.
And once you've beaten the first enemy you come up against, you've really seen all this combat has to offer, which then just makes it kind of tiresome the third time they bring a suit level back.
Even the way they fight, you can see, you can already see the creative director of Pacific Rim punya work on this game.
Demonic ships a dozen or so times. Where you're either dodging
I bet that guy has always wanted to like make a Pacific Rim game, but since he's hired by id Software, and id Software is main game is Doom, so eventually he's like, you know what, let's add mech into Doom, mechs into Doom.
Takedowns here are pretty damn awesome.
Because he's a Pacific Rim punya tu, creative tu, so yeah. Oh!
Pacific Rim game?
No, I don't know if that was, but the guy was the creative director of for Pacific Rim punya design punya back.
As opposed to actually
The Hugo Martin, he worked at Pacific Rim's design. So and then he worked at id Software for Doom 2016 and Eternal and this one. So I bet this whole time he has always wanted to put mechs in any game. But he couldn't make a Pacific Rim game because he's under id Software and the game's like Doom. So I bet he thought, hey, why not add mechs in this game?
Like what you could refer to as a boots on the ground shooter. But it's kind of hard to not see all of this stuff as a bit of a step backwards. I'm not sure I'd say that it's bad, but yeah, it is different.
Ooh, there is glory kill in this game.
At the end of things, the Dark Ages was really starting to wear out its welcome, where I just found myself waiting for the whole thing to wrap up. I don't think it's really helping either that they essentially recycle the final boss 5 times. I mean, the first time you fight this guy, he's got 3 phases, and then after that, you fight him again for another 2. All of which is just a bit of a parry fest where your right mouse button's gonna get worn down. Some of the arenas in the late
I wonder if the girls play Doom, and then if they're gonna look at the demons, the demon character in the cutscenes and say, "Hear me out."
No real order somehow constitutes a fun challenge. Sadly too, I did find the music to be a bit of a non-event in this, and half the time I didn't even notice it was going on in the background. I mean, it does make sense though.
You cannot really hear me out on Doom guy because he's actually human. Well, he's a beast, but he's a human. A godly enhanced human. It doesn't count as hear me out. It's
which really is the main problem that the Dark Ages has overall.
Nah, some of these demons
isn't even really this game's fault. More the fact that this thing is a follow-up to motherfucking Doom Eternal. And I mean, you've really got to remember just how much of a big deal Doom Eternal was. I mean, not only
it is a big deal, right?
Doom series, but also just first-person shooters in general. It really pioneered this whole new subgenre of micromanaging your ammo, health, and armor, which is something that really hadn't been done before. And after it came out,
that's why I love Doom Eternal. It's apa ni, Shadow Warrior? Is Shadow Warrior?
So naturally, anything that follows
Turbo Overkill
like has some big shoes.
Oh, I love this game, man. Fuck yeah. It's Cyberpunk Doom.
It's like having to follow The Godfather Part 2, Terminator 2, Aliens, or Sister Act 2. Also, just consider the timing, how it came out during the height of the pandemic, where the outside world absolutely sucked.
Mad Max.
And then you got this gorgeous, fast-paced power fantasy that comes along and brilliantly lets us all indulge in some much-needed escapism. At the end of the day, though, realistically, I think I just might have Doom fatigue. I mean, I've been into this series now for over 30 years. There's even old home videos of me and my
you might have Doom fatigue, buddy. You might have Doom fatigue. You have been playing Doom games for so long. Maybe that it affects how you feel. For me, because I purposely tak main now Doom for a while. I purposely don't play Doom for a while because I don't want to have that fatigue when I play Doom at Dark Ages. I just played Doom Eternal sikit-sikit je and then just to like de-rush myself. That's it.
2004 to 2005 with Resurrection of Evil.
Because if you play too much of something while waiting for a new game, you might actually get fatigue, burnout.
The Ancient Gods Part 1 and 2 in 2021, and now the Dark Ages in 2024.
Oh my, the menu. Oh my god, guys, aura farming. Look at him. Holy shit, man. That guy is aura farming on fucking ruins. Oh my god. I'm gonna screenshot this part. Hang on.
And I guess I'm just feeling a bit slayed out at this point. Does that mean that Doom the Dark Ages is bad? No, far from it. But it is worth mentioning that it isn't as amazing or groundbreaking as Eternal was. Not even close. And overall, it just doesn't hit the same way that Eternal did.
I don't mind. It's more Doom, so I'll fucking play it. Fucking love it. It's fucking Doom guy with a fucking cape, bro. How can I pass out on that? I'll pass up on that. Pass out.
For the longest time, a lot of people always thought that Doom 3 was the black sheep in the franchise. Well, I think the Dark Ages is about to replace it.
Ooh.
And I'm sure they'll make a couple of DLC episodes expanding the plot even more. And yeah, I'm sure they'll be fun to play. Honestly though, I just hope they give this guy some much needed R&R, because at this point there's a lot of other FPS franchises that could do with a bit more love as well.
It's funny seeing Dark Ages and then looking at your game, right? Skyrim, right? I think they borrowed some Elder Scrolls design in this Dark Ages, if you think about it. Because I can see, you know, guy with a fur cape, fur coat. And then, shit, hang on. Yeah. Okay, well, which review next? I'm watching as many reviews as I can.
Without a Doom Slayer.
From the well-known ones first. Mr. Maddie, please. ACG. I haven't watched some of these. Tyler McVicker, yeah, why not?
The shield is the meat hook and ice bomb. Melee attacks are the chainsaw and the guns are the guns. You can't just stand and fight. You need to be more aware of each chess piece on the board. Fodder for resources, mediums for projectiles to parry 4 melee recharges, which can be used on groups of fodder for resources, and the shield to stun heavies and super heavies. And of course, the shield bash, allowing for zipping-like movement around the arena, and the game is not holding the shield bash back, as you can use the bash only seconds after a previous one, and it can reach enemies incredibly well. It almost never had a problem locking onto an enemy that I had in mind. My issue with the combat overall is the lack of total feedback when the shield breaks or recharges, and the flakiness of the melee strikes. It feels as if sometimes you have to swing at nothing before the melee will lock on. Then it will effectively shield bash you right up to that enemy and do exactly what you want. But it also seems to require you standing still, or at least finishing a prior animation before it will allow that melee attack to register. I'm not sure if that's a bug or design, but it does break the flow of this very, very good combat. Like, the greatest feeling I've had in a video game in a long time is stunning an enemy getting ready for a glory kill, and then instead of walking up to it, shield
So
Psycho, the shield immediately going into a classic
Psycho?
glory kill
From a viewer perspective,
the combat shotgun
I want to make a first impression review of this game after I play this for a few hours. First impression edit video lah. So, on a viewer perspective, what would you like to see in the first impression video?
The second most powerful weapon in the game. The Shredder is effectively the SMG and the fallback weapon for the entire game, as both of its upgrade paths are the coolest.
Would you prefer a short and sweet stuff, or would you prefer longer and more detailed?
Projectiles. And when they are full, they glow yellow, and a shield throw explodes the
Break it down,
cushion, sending all of those nails all around the arena, hitting every demon around.
From
this
your
is only surpassed in
point of view, I would say
coolness by Ricochet.
Break it
When
down
you
now.
stun a heavy with a shield, meaning you
Okay, I'll
throw
break
the
it down.
shield
I
and
don't have to
bury
like
into a super
make
heavy.
a long
You can
explanation
then
about
shoot
things.
that shield, sending the spikes
Just
not
say what I
only
need.
into
This
that
game was
heavy
this.
demon,
A
but
first
also
impression.
bouncing
This
around
game
the
is this.
entire arena. It
Blah
is
blah
so
blah blah blah
cool.
blah.
The
Make it like at least 10
Impaler
minutes and then
complete
10
with
minutes
fall.
ish.
And one of the upgrade paths allows you to slow down time for
And then a full review probably when I finish it.
every headshot that you get with the Impaler recharges your melee strikes. The Accelerator is my second favorite weapon and a total powerhouse of an automatic rifle, complete with multiple states of power. Enough consistent damage, it charges itself and levels up, increasing its DPS. It can even be upgraded to have a frickin' heat blast. like the Heat Blast from the previous 2 Doom games. You can charge that up if you're upgraded enough on that weapon. The Cycler is my favorite by far. It's a double-barrel plasma rifle with the shocked mechanic. After enough damage is dealt by the Cycler, the weapon can electrocute enemies. And after an upgrade, that electrified state transfers to all other surrounding enemies.
Wait, I want to watch the trailer again. I want to watch the trailer again. Oh my god. I am
Closer, buddy.
I'm dooming it. What the fuck is he doing?
Why don't you come closer? Ooh, rolling.
Rolling. Bodoh lah.
The makers are still not responding. Defenses about to be breached.
Okay.
I
Going to bed?
Ready?
Good night.
Goodbye.
Targets identified. Weaponry deployed.
Oh, they still have the courier. Oh, fuck yeah.
Impact confirmed. The Slayer has been activated.
My god. Wait. Oh my god. Psycho, I think Doom guy is running at the fucking demon with one hand on the mech. This fucker, I think Doomslayer is running. You know, okay, look, Psycho, look, can you look at my screen or what? This fuck, I don't know if it's Doomslayer or what, but this motherfucker ran with one arm. Just one arm, bro. Holy shit.
That's gotta be Slayer.
Holy shit.
I think it has to be.
It has to be him, bro. I love when, like, I don't know, something about mechs, or like in mecha punya anime or like shows. It's like something about them having like one limb left or like just a few left and still running for the enemy is fucking badass, bro. Like, Gosh got fucking balls, man.
All in or nothing.
All in or nothing. It's like that one. I watched this Gundam. It's the one Gundam that is a lot close. It feels like the Vietnam War punya. Or I think the guy fucking uses the other arm to beat the shit out of the other. Holy shit.
Oh, okay.
Aku lupa. Dia buka pah di pantai ni. God damn. I don't know whether to say he was unarmed or was he armed.
Yeah, okay, excessive, but okay. Thank you, Daedra.
What the fuck was that? Daedra.
Took off the guy's head.
Damn.
Alright, chill out. You're not the Doomslayer. Don't need to get your
enemies. Sometimes this causes a chain
Man thinks
reaction
he's
of
Slayer.
every enemy in the arena being electrocuted, exploding, and then electrocuting the enemy next to them. That is the coolest thing in this game. Now, I didn't really use the Skull Crusher weapons, nor the explosives, being the rocket launcher and the grenade launcher. To each their own, and obviously I will likely come around to
Oh wait,
them in
I'll take
future
it back. When you play Ultra Nightmare, you don't only just have one life. You can get those +1 lives actually.
please take my advice. And
So,
upgrade it as soon
why
as
you choose
possible
use
and
wisely?
use it on
If
the
I,
bosses. As for the
I
enemies,
guess.
it's a crazy variety with some surprising returns and omissions. The experience of meeting and beating these demons is part of the fun, so I'm not going to spoil too much. But that said, the Arachnotron bombs are just bad. I don't like them. The Arachnotron shoots out these bombs, and they bury themselves in the ground and effectively act as landmines. That's fine, but they're very quiet, and the HUD element that shows that they're there is very hard to see. If you defeat the Arachnotron, those bombs stick around, and you cannot shoot them to get rid of them. You have to wait for them to blow up on their own. That stops a fight dead in its tracks while you wait for the Arachnotron bombs to explode. Thankfully, the Arachnotron does not actually shoot these bombs out very frequently. It actually takes a specific kind of Arachnotron to do it, but it is my least favorite enemy attack in the entire game. Now, as for story, I can't really talk about it, like it's in the review guide, but I'll say this. This game goes places. You are not ready for some of these twists, themes, and especially locale. I feel like the level themes and motivations are considered story, so I'll also say this. This game has some of the best level ideas than any previous id Software game, period. There were multiple times I was stunned where I was going. I was also appreciative of two things in the actual story that I can speak on without spoiling anything. Much is conveyed to the player through animation and not dialogue. You know the old author's adage of show don't tell? This game shows far more than it tells. So, you know, it's a story, stuff happens, people grow, people change, but no one sees the Doom guy as a god, just a very strong human man. Oh my god, thank God. As for exploration, my favorite part of any game is secret hunting. Like, I love Donkey Kong Country because of the Kong letters and puzzle pieces. This game makes its secrets a main point, and almost required if you're playing at high levels due to all the upgrade components being hidden around the map, those being gold, rubies, and wraithstones. My first playthrough was on Ultraviolence. It took 20-ish hours, and I got 100%. I fully 100%ed every level.
The maps, yeah, the maps actually are bigger in Dark Ages. Holy.
Are great, most of the time. However,
Damn.
due to the size of the level,
Game over.
backtracking can be a
He
slog
said he's
due
gonna
to
end this little
many
game,
factors.
alright? And knock it
So
out.
I have a humble request from an ugly idiot from Ohio, Tyler McVicker, the passionate gamer. For the love of God,
I
bring
never
back
miss.
Eternal's
Dapat
fast
yung
travel. Doom Eternal lets you fast travel. to
Psycho
any
ah, may
checkpoint
Hawkeye.
once the level is considered to be in a completed state.
Never
Especially in the large
Tapos
sandbox
Psycho main
levels
Legolas.
such as Siege 1,
Look at the Hobbits, why?
meandering
Psycho.
around corpses is a common thing to do.
God.
Also, a mini-map would be a bad addition because I am checking that damn auto-map hundreds of times a level because I am to do. Also, a mini-map wouldn't be around corpses as a large sandbox levels such as Siege 1. Meandering around corpses is a common thing to do. Also, a mini-map wouldn't be a bad addition because I am checking that damn auto map hundreds of times a level because the game does a fantastic thing. It shows you the basic idea of where each secret is in a radius around you. So as you explore the map, question marks will start popping up on the auto map telling you, hey, there's something there, go back. But I just keep opening that map so many times. It would be very nice for there to be a mini map that shows you where you haven't been and where the secrets are. It would save so much time. Whoever is manufacturing these pull switches in the world of Doom, they're making a big ass bag because damn, pull switches are everywhere in this game. Let me skip animations. In some cases, you do let me skip animations, but things like grabbing a ruby, mounting the dragon, getting off the dragon, grabbing a key, the first time through, that's fine, but I'm gonna play this game another 20 to 30 times. It's that good. It has the same problem as Doom Eternal with those like cells to unlock things on your Fortress of Doom. It's just a time waster. Let me skip those, please. Again, I'm sure it'll be fixed. It's very small things, and they will almost certainly be patched out. Maybe even by the time you get to play. I trust they will because this engine, this graphical fidelity, this stability, this performance is the most impressive I have seen in the industry. I am running Ultra Nightmare, the highest graphical settings in the game, at 3440 by 1440p, and I have never dropped below 60 frames a second. It never crashed, it never stuttered, it never hitched, nothing. It is solid as bedrock. idTech 8 rebuilds
what are you? Which graphics card are you using? That's what I want to know. Come on.
It's very small things, and they will almost certainly be patched out. Maybe even by the time you get to play. I trust they will, because this engine, this graphical fidelity, this stability, this performance is the most impressive I have seen in the industry. I am running Ultra Nightmare, the highest graphical settings in the game, at 3440 by 1440p, and I have never dropped below 60 frames a second. It never crashed, it never stuttered, it never hitched, nothing. It is solid as bedrock. idTech 8 rebuilds the concept of id Software leading in-game technology, because this is impressive.
Okay,
Levels don't even load. As soon as I click to start, the loading screen pops up and it's ready. You just have to hit the spacebar and you're in. Yes, I have a powerful loading screen pops up and it's even game technology. Because this click to start, the loading screen pops up and it's ready. You just have to hit the spacebar and you're. I click to start. Impressive. Levels don't even load.
Levels don't even load.
As soon
Really?
as I click to start, the loading screen pops up and it's ready. You just have to hit the spacebar and you're in. Yes, I have a powerful computer, but I play video games on this thing all the time, and no game runs this well. Cutscene transitions between completely different areas switch like it's nothing. It's an instant. You'll be in a castle, now a spaceship, now you're in hell. Boom, boom, boom. Nothing stalls, nothing stutters. It's insane. Whoever's in charge of the tech of idTech 8, 2 words. Holy shit. Here's the crazy part. I don't want to make this video. This video is getting in the way of me playing this game. That sounds like some PR crap. I'm serious. I would so much rather be messing around with this game. This game is that good. I don't do scores, but I give it a 9.5. And it will
9.5?
little things are ironed out, and I'm positive they will be.
That is high.
Is they're making a DLC. Rumor is they're making 2. That's not confirmed, but rumor is they're gonna make 2. Doom: The Dark Ages.
Rumor they're gonna make 2 DLCs.
That seems to be going through scope creep within pre-production. Like when they were planning this game in whatever year, 2019 or 2020, they wrote down all these crazy ideas that most studios would never have been able to act on. They would have cut half of this. They wanted to make dragon levels that feel like Star Fox 64 and rock. They wanted to make mech levels that make you feel like you're playing a Pacific Rim video game. 22 levels, each of them bigger than anything in 2016 or Eternal. And you're gonna make more? How? Just like, it's so good. Here's the thing. Whoever decided to only show low difficulty gameplay in the publicity, PR, and marketing, all the official Bethesda gameplay in the trailers, and that was released directly from them, was playing on easy. And they were playing slowly so that people understood what they were looking at. They should have mixed the two. This game is not slow, and I haven't even had the time to mess with the difficulty sliders. On Nightmare, this game is just as frantic as Doom Eternal, period. The gameplay that they showed off at the Dev Direct and in the press, it is not at all representative of what high-level games will feel like. It's fast. Don't worry.
The death animation with the not bad lah.
Staring at a long list of tasks won't suddenly make you.
Oh, shut the fuck up, man! I'm trying to watch a review. I don't want to hear your bullshit. Dah habis ah.
Howdy, all you totally tubular gamers.
Shut the fuck up. Aduh, ingatkan apa dah habis punya. Okay. Extremely stupid summary of Doom's lore. Why not?
No. Wait, what are you? Hello, dumb Doomblers, and welcome to the entire lore of Doom, explained perfectly by an absolute expert. And you might ask, how complicated could the lore of Doom really be? Great question. This is why I love you. The answer is
a trick, but you're gonna like this trick. Trust me.
Watching.
Ready?
And... Oh,
that is a nice view.
That is a very nice view. God damn.
See, I told you, it's a nice view.
Beauty of it, the depth. Holy shit. Look at that. Oh, the way the lighting of it. Oh shit.
Okay,
Oh my god.
We gotta hide the evidence. I just started digging and I'm not ready to get arrested.
That was a very nice overview.
Yeah, so see, sometimes you can trust me.
Sometimes.
Sometimes.
That's it. And that is as rare as, well, if it's meat, the cow is still alive. It's war.
Oh, you missed the view.
Don't tell her about the view.
Oh, yeah. You're mad. My bad.
You idiot.
There was no view.
You're trying to get both of us in trouble.
Okay, come back later.
Nah, it's already done.
Okay, it's okay. We're good. We're good.
It's okay, I come back later.
See, you say one thing, she'll do the other thing. See?
What'd I do?
Oh, back.
Is extremely. Thanks to time travel, weird space-time stuff, and multiple dimensions, the lore kills 57 people every year. So to avoid any more casualties, I will explain it as it really happened. We begin at the first game. No, hold on. Right, we begin at the beginning of time and space, where the first crybaby creates Jacquard, the first realm, and then creates Humans 1.0. Don't worry about the
Humans 1.0.
Then the crybaby named Darvoth watched over them as they developed into an extremely advanced civilization. But there was one tiny little thing that bothered him, and I quote, just a bit. That being that once they got old, they died happy and surrounded by the ones they love. So to fix this, he created the second realm, Ordak, so that he could offload the problem on someone else. Something important to mention is that both Jacquard and Ordak exist outside of time, which surely won't lead to any extremely confusing buffoonery. But back to Urdak, the people that Darvoth created to pay minimum wage for scientific work are the Makers, which are a multi-leveled hive mind, meaning that the con maker makes all the decisions, then the amount of freedom while doing it depends on the level. So the Makers get to work, doing the hard part for Darvoth, who spends his time creating other realities, and setting up a police state dictatorship so that he can force all of Jacquard to work on trying to fix the mortality that was probably no big deal for them. Eventually, the Makers found a way to prolong life, but they really didn't think that it was a good idea to give it to Darvoth, since he became kinda stinky and also probably insane. So to deal with him, the Makers stuffed Jacquard in the closet and then locked the doors, as any responsible adult does with their problems. As you can imagine, Darvoth took this extremely well. And by that, I mean he got so mad he transformed himself into the Dark Lord and turned Jacquard into hell, corrupting everyone who didn't live inside Emora. And then he started banging on the closet trying to break out, and this caused demons to invade a lot of realms, where they discovered a new energy source. Apparently, if you torture someone's soul, you get a lot of power. The Makers then decided to be responsible and attacked Darvoth with the plan of using their new ball tech to transform Darvoth into a ball, which is a completely normal sentence, I don't know what you mean. And so, after a lot of fighting, they did it. A guy called the Father managed to turn Darvoth into a ball. By doing so, he also became a god that doesn't have any
Can
good
make him
depiction.
bleed,
So
even if I shoot an arrow on
the
his
father's
face.
very, very close friend, Samur
So I'm gonna
Maker,
hurt
who
him
witnessed
mentally by
this,
licking his
begged
face.
him to break the sphere to eliminate the Dark
Man,
Lord.
this-
But the
it does
father
sound
had
like
a
a
better
power move,
idea.
but really
He
creepy.
constructed a new closet, safer than ever, then created a seal forbidding
it's one of
any
those
demon to
anime,
enter Urdak and any maker to enter hell,
bad
so
guy
that the
movies where,
makers would
like,
have an excuse to
you
not
know, they
join
lick it-
any
they
war
lick
or
the guy
attack
on the
against
face.
hell ever again. And then the father helped the
no
makers
wonder you
achieve
weren't attacking.
immortality. Kinda.
Alright.
Basically, at the
if
end
you
of their
remember
lifespan,
that
they
one
would
video-
voluntarily die and
lick
be
it, you-
resurrected using the power of the father, who was also essential to create a new Khan maker, who was created every 10,000 years. At the same time, the father continued to create new dimensions and gods to govern those dimensions. However, Darvoth, even in ball form, still had access to his Twitter account, which he used to make call-out posts and corrupt the gods of these realms. Eventually, the father got sick and tired of dealing with the corrupted gods, so he asked his husband, his close friend, to turn him into a ball.
Bodoh.
A perfectly normal and logical request. And after, in ball form, he was put in a sanctum in Urdak so that his power could continue the reincarnation process and the creation of a Khan. After this, the makers continued to help sentient races across the multiverse. The only important one being Humans 2.0, which before the Khan makers worshipped magic dragons. Oh yeah, by the way, magic is real, and with the help of the makers, the Argenta became a powerful interplanetary civilization. And now for something completely different. We have finally arrived at the point where it kinda makes sense to talk about the original games. Yeah, all that was context for later mostly, because in Doom 1? Doom? I'm gonna say Doom. The story begins in a completely different reality or different time, or both. I'm not 100% sure. In a nondescript future time period, a Marine is unhappy with his boss, so he was transferred to guard duty on Mars, and his boss was transferred to a casket. Mars was colonized by the UAC, which stands for Union Aerospace Corporation, a name that echoes throughout the multiverse, somehow. And they have been working on teleportation technology on Deimos and Phobos. They put an apple on one teleporter, and on the other appears a fruit of hell, which is perfectly normal and not suspicious at all, until demons attack, and the Phobos base sends a distress signal that the Marines squad goes to check on, after having put the Marine's gun on a high place where he can't reach it. Eventually, he gets his gun and finds out he's the last one alive. Huh. This page just says violence. Then the Marine goes to hell, where apparently Deimos has been moved to, and after more violence and killing the mastermind behind this attack, a big brain on legs, the guy, I know that he isn't the Slayer yet technically, but I'm just gonna call him the Slayer anyways. It's definitely better than Doom Guy or Doom Marine. Anyways, the Slayer is sent back to Earth where
Hey
there's
man,
another
no
demonic
disrespect.
invasion. But
Don't
more
disrespect the name
importantly,
Doom Guy, bro.
they
Damn,
kill
bro.
his bunny and his family or whatever. So, violence until he reaches the icon of sin. Take notes, it will show up on the test. And after killing it, humanity is saved once and for all. And then it happens again, but sure. Okay, 4th time's the charm. 5th? Okay, 6th is actually the charm, because this time the Slayer stays in hell, so next time he doesn't even need to travel. And somehow, during the constant battles he faced in hell, he traveled through time or through dimensions, or probably both at the same time. Back in Urdak, the father got bored of being a sphere in Urdak, and without considering at all the consequences of his actions, asked Sam to get him out of there and put him next to Darvoth, where he could fail to stop or hinder him even better. The makers took this great. They only lost immortality and a way to create a leader, and not being able to create a new Khan meant that the current one had to last for way more than the expiration date. This made her easy to corrupt by Darvoth, who tricked her into making the divinity machine to avoid a chosen one. Clearly, her age was getting to her, because this is the worst lie I have ever heard, and I have heard people say Payday 3 is good. Anyway, the divinity machine was used as a ceremonial trial by the Argenta, killing a lot of them. And then they found the Doom Marine. He looked similar to the Argenta, but he was human 3.0 and spoke in marketing terms. And after winning a battle royale, he was offered to join the Argentan army. But not before the Khan Maker questioned him about the demons he spoke of, because somehow, either by accident or on purpose, the Makers had forgotten about the whole thing. Fortunately, the demons attacked. Well, unfortunately for the Argenta,
That-
but
that
fortunately
reindeer
for
was
the
up in the
makers.
air.
This started the
And then it
Unholy
landed.
Wars, which is probably when Doom the Dark Ages takes place. After winning some initial battles, the makers pushed for the Argenta to invade Hell, since they remembered the seal giving them the perfect excuse as to
What
why
else
they
can it
couldn't do
be?
it themselves. During these expeditions, the Slayer became part of the Sentinel Knights, which were the elite soldiers of Argenta. During the expeditions, 3 high priests investigated the demons for the Khan Maker. They then figured out that they were powered by the essence of tortured souls, which when combined with Wraith essence makes Argent energy, which is exactly what the Khan Maker needed to keep the makers and more importantly herself alive. So her and the they then figured out that they were powered by the essence of tortured souls, which when combined with Wraith essence, which is exactly what the Khan Maker priests concocted a dastardly plan. They would make a deal with our Lord of Hell. No, too sexy. Perfect. The deal was that they would build a factory for Argent energy if the makers kept feeding them souls. So with help from Argenta volunteers, they built Necra. I'm pretty sure that's the Tower of Babel. That's a copyright lawsuit waiting to happen. Either way, the war continued until an extremely powerful titan called the Dreadnought just so happened to appear near a city filled with innocent civilians. It seemed unstoppable until Sam brought the soon-to-be Slayer into the Divinity Machine, and after flipping a single switch, the machine empowered the Slayer with the essence of Darvoth, who was masterminding the scheme, clearly either too stupid to see that the Slayer would also definitely kill him for sure, or too petty to care because he would also definitely destroy the makers. But for now, with this new power, the Slayer beat the Dreadnought, leaving his blade in to keep the Titan paralyzed. The Khan Maker was slightly crossed that Sam had created the Chosen One who would kill her and destroy their entire civilization. Unfortunately for her, Sam had already fled to Mexico to start a new life with his husband. Well, not really Mexico, the closest thing to hell in all the universe. New York. Oh, you're waiting for me to say it was a joke? Nope, the father had decided that he was done being useless next to Darvoth, so he asked Sam to take his consciousness from the ball and go to Earth to fail to avoid the mistakes of the other timeline. Meanwhile, back with the Slayer, during one of the expeditions into Hell, they came across Necrovol and discovered the Khan Maker's secret. It must have been hard to figure out that the makers were involved. They're too smart to leave any obvious clues lying around. This shocking news started a civil war. The Night Sentinels, the Slayer, and the people who thought endless torture was bad actually, versus the ones who didn't really care, the makers, and the Hell Priests. The Hell Priests, however, somehow tricked the Night Sentinels into thinking that they were totally neutral and just had a bad rash. They then tricked Commander Valen into a deal where he would betray the Night Sentinels but get his son back. The Night Sentinels were brought to a portal that was totally gonna take them straight to Necrovol. Instead, they were scattered all across Hell alone, so pretty much all of them died. And Valen's son? Hey, at least he kept one thing, his heart. The Slayer continued to completely destroy Hell, so the Hell Priests came up with a plan. They lured him into the catacombs, covered them in EPDP magic, and collapsed them on him. The EP magic projected into his mind something so boring it instantly knocked him unconscious. And then they sealed him in a box and put it in a closet, thus fixing the problem permanently. Meanwhile, Sam on Earth had taken on a human form, then got brain cancer, and took on a robot form. Other than turning himself into a robot, he created the UAC with a name that was form. Other than on a human form, then got brain cancer and took on a robot form. Other than turning himself into a robot, he created the UAC with a name that was definitely unique and invented so many things you would think more people would be suspicious. One of his inventions was an amazing AI that turns out was just a father after severe head trauma. Sam also colonized Mars and then decided that actually they didn't want to be safe and make sure that the other timeline's events don't repeat themselves, so he started to use Argent energy and prodded around in Hell. Since in subsection 5.12 of the seal it clearly states if you turn yourself into a human 4.0 then into a robot, It's fine, do whatever. I don't care. Dude.
Main dia macam main
In hell, he found the coffin where the Hell Priests held the Slayer, and decided to take it to Mars because, and I quote, just in case my most trusted friend gets corrupted and I don't notice and she starts a demon invasion, it could be useful. And then that exact thing happens, and we finally exited the lower tunnel. Now the events of Doom 2016 unfold, which, to summarize, violence, violence, getting a crucible, violence, the crucible gets stolen by Sam and the Slayer sent to hell. Then the exact thing that the father and Sam were there to stop happens, and Earth gets invaded by demons. But this time, instead of admitting he sucks at everything and should stop, Sam comes back with the crucible and says, and I quote, "Nah, I'd win," and then gets beaten to near death. Not like by me, by a demon or something. Then the Slayer arrives with a spaceship that he got from a pawn shop in hell and starts cleaning up the mess by first killing the Hell Priests. Though the con maker isn't exactly happy about this, so she tries to protect the final Hell Priest by putting him on Sentinel Prime, which could only be accessed with the ruins on Mars, which I forgot to talk about. They are Argentian ruins that, judging by their depth, are at least hundreds of thousands of years old. The Slayer then ruins a holiday and gets to Sentinel Prime, where he kills the last Hell Priest, who tried the genius strategy of saying "nuh-uh" to the bullets. It didn't work. The con maker is even more slightly irritated now and stops paying the electricity bills. But thanks to the crucible, the Slayer manages to steal the electricity from his neighbor. The con maker now intends on using the Icon of Sin to destroy Earth. So the Slayer, after recovering his crucible and destroying Necroval, which apparently nobody asked him to do before because he just does it no problem, goes to Urdak, where the Slayer uses a really cool knife Valen gave him to stab the Icon of Sin's heart, thus freeing Valen's son's soul, but making the Icon of Sin go rampant and breaking the Holy Seal. The con maker is actually very calm and talks out her problems with the Slayer by trying to kill him, which ends predictably. Then one quick stab later and the Icon of Sin goes down. What follows are the DLCs. In the first one, the Slayer restores Sam's original body and destroys the life sphere of the father, which Sam wanted so he could be reincarnated. Instead, the Slayer picks up Darvos' life sphere to do what he reincarnated. Instead, the life sphere of the father, which Sam wanted so he could be reincarnated. Instead, the Slayer picks up Darvos' life sphere to do what everyone else was too stupid or weak to do. And then after a quick chat with Sam, Darvoth is revived in the Chamber of Forgotten Lore. And he looks just like the Slayer for reasons that are still unclear but definitely cause for a lawsuit. He then leaves to be in the other DLC. The Slayer now needs to find a way to Emora, the city that has been doing nothing for the entirety of the plot. So on his way to get a battery to power the gate to take him there, he does movie reference number 1 and starts an army all at once. Then he arrives at... I forgot to explain that. He arrives nowhere and picks up a figment of his imagination that he takes to the Gate of Devum that was for some reason on Earth. Once powered, he uses it to travel to Emora, where Darvoth is seen being a total coward and using a giant mech suit instead of regular armor. I guess he never grew out of being a crybaby, huh? Then movie reference number 2 happens, a lot of violence and the goodbye from the best character later. It's time for the final boss, who tries to lecture the Slayer about if you think about it, he's the victim here, and that he should learn to see both sides. Then a really powerful no kills him. But Rutro, the Slayer, is also powered by Darvoth, so that makes him very sleepy. So he's put inside the sarcophagus to be reawakened for the next game that isn't a prequel. And that's pretty much it. How much did I miss? A lot. How much of that is important? Now if you excuse me, I have to file some lawsuits for monetary gains. It feels good to scam the justice system. Anyway, I give this lore, I guess, a time travel and multiverse out of 10. Now like, subscribe, and start a cult devoted to making people subscribe to it.
Pakai mesh yang kata.
Oh lagi sumpah sekarang orang. Saya tak skeno, dia magic damage banyak tu.
The Praetor suit. The Doom Slayer's iconic, indestructible armor.
Siapa yang Jen? Pasrah lah.
Alpha.
The fuck?
Doom the Dark Ages is the latest entry from id
Player. That's like saying they're
Targets identified. Weaponry deployed.
Sekejap aku rasa aku bilang dia tu.
Jangan salah lima. Awas sangat ni.
Impact confirmed. The Slayer has been activated.
Kat bawah kat sini juga kan. Tak boleh kat sini tu. Sama lah. Dia boleh kan dia. Sama dia tu.
Spotted kids lah. Oh my god. Wait. Wait, psycho.
Dia punya apa? Support kat atas ni.
Sekejap. Damn. Psycho, I have a feeling. Remember that one part where the mecha has only one arm left, right? Has only one arm. Oh, I have a feeling that he's gonna like get out of that mech and then jump at that fucker himself.
Yep.
Holy shit.
It sounds like a good guy move.
It sounds like a sleep.
Wreck the mech, then wreck the rest himself.
Yeah. Holy shit. Because there were a few cutscenes that he actually did jump at them, so I don't know if this is like connected.
Gila-gila apa hal ni tiba-tiba.
Not the traditional way to get to this place, I assume, but
Yeah, sorry.
okay.
Mudah nak kerja aku juga ah. Saya lagi.
Oh man. Alright.
software launching on PS5, Xbox Series S, and PC on May 12th, and I have one goal here: to figure out if it's a good game and if it's worth the money. To put my cards on the table early, I think Doom the Dark Ages is an excellent game that has great shooting, pacing, variety, and an okay story. I'll spend the rest of this review unpacking what works, what doesn't, and because the game isn't out yet, I won't be spoiling anything past the first 3 hours of the game. I will show some out-of-context clips from the 6-hour mark, but I won't be spoiling any of the cool boss fights and environments, even though I'd really like to gush about them. Finally, as always, make sure this isn't the only review you watch. Games are 90 Canadian big ones these days, and it's now more important than ever that you are as informed as possible when making a purchase. Okay? Let's get into it. It's appropriate to start with some background, because I never really played the Doom games until the first reboot in 2016, which I liked, but never finished. And the same was true for Eternal. Something about those games didn't quite click with me, and not for any fault of the game, but just because I wasn't necessarily in the mood for it. So I'm coming at this from a very casual standpoint. I also cannot in good faith start this review without disclosing that I was not only given a free review copy of the game, but I was also flown out to LA a few months ago to play the game early, and the whole thing was paid for. It was a great trip, and it was awesome meeting some of the dev team. I don't say this as a defense, but rather in the name of honesty. It's important that you know the full context around a review, and I believe mentioning this is necessary context. Anywho, let's begin with performance. I mentioned in my preview that performance is incredibly important when it comes to an FPS game because, especially on keyboard and mouse, you want everything to feel snappy. And when you have frame rate that is even a little bit unstable, even a slight hitch here or there, you're gonna feel it, and it'll totally pull you out of the game. I'm happy to say that Doom: The Dark Ages did not have a single dropped frame. However, my recordings, especially during cutscenes, had some encoding lag. But you can take my word on it that the game ran fine. However, and this is a big however, I was running this game at 1440p max settings, 60 FPS on a recently upgraded machine with an RTX 5070 Ti, a Ryzen 7800X 3V, and the game was installed on an NVMe. This game requires ray tracing, meaning I imagine it would struggle on machines that are not up to date. I think mandatory ray tracing is really lame, but if you're not sure, I encourage everyone to utilize Steam's excellent refund feature. If you're concerned about performance, then you can buy the game, try it for an hour, and if it doesn't run well, you can refund it with no questions asked. I appreciated that the game ran so consistently because it allowed me to enter a flow state much easier. And I think Doom functions best when you let that subconscious part of your brain take over, and you just instinctively rip and tear. With that in mind, the gameplay still offers room for experimentation, skill, and strategy. I was constantly rewarded for trying new things, and the newest tool we have is the shield saw. Initially, I was concerned for the shield because it didn't strike me as something players could make great use of.
Are you
wrong? And now that I've played the full game, I'm even more wrong. The shield gets constant upgrades throughout the story and is at all points your best friend, and something that actively aids you in being as aggressive as possible, acting as both a means of making enemies vulnerable and helping you close the gap, which is something you'll be doing a lot. The largest change...
I'll end the stream here. I'll see you all in the next one. Remember, there will be like a pretty long waiting room stream that I will start from Monday-ish. So... I'll see you on that. I'll see you all chat on that day. Waiting room for Doom: The Dark Ages. So yeah.